So this is a good point too, because and once again, like I said at the beginning, it's major spoilers for this one. So when a movie when like trailers come out, I love trailers, right? And I think
Oh, yeah.
sometimes, a lot of times, unfortunately, the trailer is better than the movie.
And they don't
So
have the same scenes, mind you, too, and it's
yeah,
intentional.
they get that. That's a rug pull, right? Okay.
Mhm.
So I'm glad you brought that up. So when the first couple trailers came out for this, right? Like, I would go to X, formerly known as Twitter, and I listen and I like, I like to see like what the excitement is around this. And so many people were excited because they were like, "Oh, Null is gonna be in
Mhm.
this. The King
Mhm.
in Black. I can't wait to see it. This is gonna be great." Blah blah blah. Right? And then you
Yeah.
go in the movie, and really what you get to see is the top of Null's head for 35 seconds, and then you get to see his actual face for 20 seconds after sitting through 30 minutes of credits. Right?
Mhm.
And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because these movies are not, they're not like, they're not even, I think, giving the fans the respect of trying to really give the fans what they want.
Oh, no, not at
When
all.
we did Deadpool and Wolverine, right? Even if you didn't like Deadpool as a character, that's fine. I don't know, everybody kind of likes Wolverine, but one of the things that we had to admit about that movie, which I think is one of the reasons why it was so successful, is that
Mhm.
people could tell that the people that made that movie cared about those characters. So whether it
Yes.
was Deadpool or Wolverine or the Human Torch or Elektra or Blade or Gambit, they cared about the characters enough to try to maintain some authenticity to the history of the character and to portray that on film. These Sony pictures and this movie in particular doesn't do that. And I think
No.
it's frustrating to people that have like were kids and read all this stuff and are now adults and actually want to see these characters that they loved in their hearts handled with care and with respect and dignity in terms of how you're telling the story about them now.
It irritates me and irks me to death that these individuals don't look at themselves as stewards. They didn't create the characters, so they don't own the rights. The corporation, I don't care how much money you throw out or whatever have you. As we've seen recently with Mickey Mouse and soon to be Superman, once the copyright it expires, that becomes
Anybody
public
owns it.
domain. Anybody owns it.
Yeah.
And these things don't exist unless there's an audience that actually goes and covets these items. I don't mean just
Yeah.
purchase. I mean like it's a full-blown love affair. So with respect to the Wolverine and Deadpool movie, that was a love letter. With
Mhm.
respect to the Spider-Man Tom Holland appearing in his own series, that was those were passions that the directors had to get out. Like
Yeah.
it was so innate and intense. So I think with respect to Sony, not only do they lack direction, I don't know where Avi Arad is, what he's doing or whatever have you, even though I see the credits promoting him as an executive producer or whatever have you. Um, there's no single voice behind them, a la Kevin Feige, and for better or for worse, James Gunn with DC.
Yeah. That's a
Uh,
good point.
so, so
That's a
the
really good point.
direction is lacking. Then there's no continuity. There isn't some type of intershared universe, even though that's what they're saying they're trying to do. They say
Yeah.
one thing and then they do another. And then I think the last thing is that with Marvel, they had major movie stars that were committed
Mhm.
because they had an initial movie star who was trying to redeem himself, and it was exemplified in the character he was portraying.
Yeah.
Once Robert Downey Jr., once Chris Hemsworth, once um, Chris uh,
Evans.
Evans were committed to those roles, people were able to identify with them. I don't
Yeah.
know who you identify with over at Sony. It could have been Tom Hardy. It could have been Tom Holland if they were borrowing it or whatever have you. And even though that doesn't work, but there was no one person. It could have even been Tobey Maguire revisiting Spider-Man later on. And I think that's the reason why the last Spider-Man movie with Holland worked so well is because
No
those
doubt.
individuals wanted to see Andrew Garfield again.
Right.
The fans wanted to see Tobey
Right.
Maguire again. That's why they're going to use them in Secret Wars and all the other ensuing Marvel movies.
Yeah. Yeah, and the thing is, like, that's a great. So the idea of like the one voice leading the direction, that's a great point. So I don't. You're right. I don't see that for Sony, and that's probably something that they need. The other
Mhm.
thing is like Tom Hardy is a really good actor.
Yeah.
We've covered movies with him. We did The Bike Riders several
Mhm.
episodes ago. He's got tremendous range, tremendous depth. He's able to
No question.
bring a physicality to the roles that he's playing while also having all this depth in terms of how he communicates, how he just absorbs and portrays characters. They could have done so much more with this. It looks to me like in this movie, he was like the rec like like how back in the day when they'd be like, you got it. The artist has like to do like ten albums before they can get out of their deal. And then like
Mhm.
they get to the last two, and they're
Sigh
like,
of
all right,
relief. I'm glad I'm out of this.
we're gonna do the compilation album and we're gonna put like the two unreleased tracks on it. That's how I feel like Tom Hardy did this movie. Like he did it like somebody who's like, dog, just get me out of here, please, man.
Mhm.